Hello friendos and randos, welcome back to another Cookie Run Braverse video. Today we're going to be talking about some tips to get started for Cookie Run Braverse. If you don't know how to play the game at all, I recommend you check out the official tutorial on the official Cookie Run Braverse website. It is very detailed and it's pretty straightforward. Otherwise, I'm going to go straight into some tips for you if you already know how to play the game but want to know how to get a little bit better at the game. First of all, as you know, in Cookie Run Braverse, you can play a maximum of 2 different cookies on your board at one time. However, just because you can play 2 different cookies on the board doesn't mean that you should play 2 cookies on the board. Why? Generally, you only have a set amount of cards in your support area to use for attacks per turn. If you aren't able to use 2 different cookies attacks at the same time, there's actually very minimal benefit to putting down 2 different cookies. Unless of course you do have enough support to attack with both cookies that you're playing down, I would recommend that you place only 1 cookie down at a time so that your opponent is forced to focus one of them to be sent to the break area before you play another one, instead of having them hit both of your cookies to a low HP and then after that forcing you to send both to the break area at once. Secondly, understand your usual curve and what your opponent can do on their specific turns. Cookie Run Braverse is actually a pretty straightforward game in terms of the support area curve as well as the lines and cards that you can expect. Most decks will be playing cards that do 1 damage for each support they have available. So for example, on the 3 support turn, they will be able to do 3 damage. This is a pretty standard kind of line. There are of course exceptions, but just keep in mind that this is how you should be playing around and counting things like is my cookie going to die this turn or not? Should I be trying to leave traps up or not? Next, flips. Make sure you play 16 flips in your deck. Again, 16 is the maximum, but flips are very impactful in the game and they can change the entire course of a battle. Just by opening 1 flip for a HP that will set your cookie from 0 to 1, that changes the game very significantly because you have 1 more turn where your opponent has to hit into the same cookie instead of being able to do damage to one of your newer cookies. Especially because these HP flips are so impactful, the next tip is to try to overkill. When you are trying to go for a guaranteed feint on one of your opponent's cookies, you should definitely try to do 1 extra or even 2 extra damage than however much HP they have. For example, if your opponent's cookie has 3 HP left, it's ideal if you try to do at least 4 damage to it. This concept is why cards like Captain Caviar and the cookies such as Cherry Cookie and other cookies that do 1 damage and then X amount of damage are very good, because then you can do that overkill by paying an additional cost without using another cookie's attack. The last tip is how to use blockers. In this game, every single color has a blocker character. So these are the 5 blockers available in the game. Now, blockers are very good cards. Here are some of the rules for blockers that are a little bit not super clear on the card itself, especially if you come from other card games. First of all, the blocker text just says, pay 1, redirect an attack to this character. Do note that this means that even if your blocker is rested, you can still use this blocker effect. So it's not like other card games such as One Piece, where if your character is rested and has attacked that turn, it cannot block again. In this case, in Cookie Run Braverse, you can actually use that blocker that is rested to block again. Secondly, do note that this is also not a once per turn effect. This means that if you have a blocker and it lives after the first attack, you can use the blocker again to block a second attack, assuming that the blocker is still alive and you still have 1 support area open to pay the cost. The last tip that I have for you when using blockers is that if you have, for example, a unit that you really want to protect and you have a blocker on the board and a blocker in your hand, you can leave 2 support area open so that when they attack you the first time and you redirect it to the first blocker, when that blocker faints, you can play a cookie from your hand and then you can play the second blocker down. And as long as you have the support available, you can use that second blocker to again protect your important unit. Now, those are my 5 tips for anyone starting out at Cookie Run Braverse so you can get a little bit better at the game. Just to recap everything again, Number 1, just because you can play 2 cookies doesn't mean you should play 2 cookies on the board. Number 2, understand the usual support curves and what people are doing on what turn, as well as how much damage output they can put out with how much support they have. Number 3, make sure to play 16 flip cards so that you can have those very impactful flip triggers save you or support you throughout the game. Number 4, try to overkill things by at least 1 or 2 points of damage. And then lastly, make sure to use blockers well and learn how to use these blockers effectively and know all of the different ins and outs of the mechanic of blocking. That was my 5 tips for any new Cookie Run Braverse players. If you like this video, make sure to leave it a like and drop a comment in the comment section telling me which one was your favorite tip or which one you didn't know before today's video. If you enjoyed it, again, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will see you guys again next time. Peace out!